me just set up a few things. How was everybody's day today? Did you guys trade profitable? Not?
Yeah, I made almost 10%. Good day.
That's pretty good. Who else?
Well, I
Anyone?
had a
Anything?
tiny day. I took one trade. It was just the break of a bear flag. I missed that big move on SPX, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm
Why did
great.
you
Ended
guys
the, ended
miss
the
the
day
move?
with red.
What was that,
I'm
Shorty?
sorry. So why did you guys miss the move today? It was fairly obvious. I think Kai posted that I got into some puts for, I guess it was tomorrow at the top there as well. Did you guys all miss it or somebody catch the whole thing?
Um, I mean, for me personally, like I just chart my own stuff, so I didn't look at your chart. And then on ES, the open drive wasn't the same as SPX, and I wasn't looking at SPX. And when I did look at SPX, I saw it, and I was like, wow, that was an awesome entry. Uh, but I wasn't
Yeah.
gonna chase. Like I saw it like shortly after you entered, but at that point, I'm like, I'm not gonna chase this. So that was all.
Yeah, on SPX, we can kind of revisit here.
If you compare it with ES, like the open drive is not the same.
Yeah, I mean, they're still not, there 100%, but this was we had the dump here, right? So
Yeah.
this is what I was looking at. So we had the little dump here, and this
hmm
is where I shorted.
Yeah, and if you look at the open on ES, it doesn't line up like that. So I was watching ES chart,
All
and
ES charts the same, or
no, it's not. See, if you look at the open, like it doesn't line up like that one
yeah,
does.
that's a little different.
Yeah, so that's why I missed it. Um, so
Okay.
and by the time I saw it on SPX, like I felt like I would be chasing, so I didn't want to chase. I was just following my rules. That was it.
Okay. Well, I mean, not bad, but this was a simple, easy trade on SPX, guys. So obviously we kind of ran to the 3904. If you guys remember, we had that level there, 3904 on ES, not on SPX. I don't chart SPX much. Um, but then the open drive that even, we talked about it, that we learned a little bit is usually you get a nice little dump, it's aggressive selling, and then they compression up, they bring the price up. So usually when that happens, uh, when something like this happens, this is your short, right? You're looking for the break of that, either high or low or whatever your entry signal might be. I didn't really have a lot of charts because I was in a lot of meetings at the time. But as soon as I saw this on 10 minutes, this was my entry here. So I was pretty much going for this little inverted hammer here to break. And that was my entry. Well, not there, but here. As soon as this broke here, I was able to get in. And I think my puts went from 11 to 24
That was crazy.
on this trade alone. So which was good, right? And I don't know, I saw some guys that, they went red. I know Mr. Bean went red. This is his second day in a row today. So I'm interested to see after we're done with the watch list with some of you guys. Maybe you can share your screen. But to know, where did you guys take the trades? Today was a fairly simple day. What type of day was this? Does anyone know?
Double distribution.
Trend day?
It looks like a typical day to me.
It's a very
Looks
typical day. It's
sideways.
the
Yeah.
D shape for today, right? So nothing really changed. And you guys know the rules, right? So since we opened, obviously here this is the high, this is the low, here's the 50%. We open higher, so I don't know. There's a high chance that they might push this up tomorrow a little bit, right? So we do have a big day, and if you're not comfortable trading tomorrow, it's probably the best that you don't trade tomorrow. If you've never traded FMOC before, you can definitely skip it, right? Go do something else, read a book or whatever that might be, but don't trade it because it's going to be volatile. So at 2 o'clock when they release the notes, usually you're going to get a pump or a dump, and that usually goes to about 2:30 or so when the JPOW comes on. And JPOW usually has an inverse onto the actual initial move. So a lot of people say the first move is fake. It's not fake. It's just speculators betting on what they want to bet on. And then when JPOW comes in, it really tends to be, if you go look at the charts, it tends to be opposite of what the initial move was. So it kind of fades away and goes and breaks the low of that day. And I'll let you guys take a look at it. In the meantime, I know a lot of you guys, asked me, and I got some messages about, supply and demand. That has anyone taken economics class here? Like, how many of you guys took an economics class?
I took it for 2 years in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
what
I
does
took
this gonna
economics in high school.
explain this chart?
You said language art?
The supply and demand curve.
Okay, so who can explain it? I want you to explain it like you're explaining to my kid.
You got the x-axis and y-axis.
Okay.
And one of them is supply, one of them is demand. I know that when they meet in the middle, they're in equilibrium. And the rule is as one goes up, the other must go down. Correct?
Not necessarily.
Um,
You can have a supply increase and a demand increase, right? And you're just catching. So when you have supply and demand, correct, this is called equilibrium here. I'm gonna try to draw this as close as possible. So this is the equilibrium. This is the price, right? This is where supply and demand meets, and that's the fair price. So what do you guys think happened when COVID started? What kind of aggregate supply and demand did we get? Does anyone get an idea or no?
Lots of supply.
Say it again.
Lots of supply, little demand.
March 2020, you got lots of supply.
I think it's the opposite, isn't it?
Yeah, lot of demand, short, less supply.
You had lower demand and lower supply first, and then the demand went up, but supply didn't catch up.
Ah, somebody's been studying. That's correct. So initially, the demand, this line is called aggregate demand, right? Usually they denote it differently, but I'm gonna do my best here since I'm charting. So usually we call this something like this, right? If a demand shifts down, what happens to the price?
Decrease.
And the price
It's
drops.
accepted at lower prices.
It's accepted at lower prices, even if the supply stays the same, correct? And that's exactly what happened. But at the same time, when we had the COVID, people were not going to work. A lot of people were shut down. For a moment, this supply was a little bit disturbed. Not a lot, but it was disturbed somewhere like this. I'm not gonna fix these lines, but I'm just gonna keep it like here. But this line was disturbed a little bit, and therefore, some of this stuff started causing a little bit of price interest. But then, and I think was it who said it, options or Kiss, and I can never tell your voice difference. Something happened where people, not something happened. There's a couple of things that happened, and we can list them. So you got stimulus checks, right? Then you got QE, right? They went really, really aggressive in quantitative easing. Anything else that happened?
Tiger King.
Tiger King.
PPP loans.
What about interest rates? What did Trump do during the COVID? Did he beg for interest rates to drop? I mean, did he try to push as much as he could to drop the interest rates? He did, right? So all of these things happen minus the Tiger King in the market to help drive the demand up, to push this demand curve, aggregate demand, to shift it up. And what happened is this aggregate demand started shifting. People were buying left and right because now they can afford the Gucci watches and all that because they got a little bit of stimulus checks. But did the supply increase? Do you guys think that this supply shifted down? So the numbers go higher from here if you guys are not familiar. Your quantity goes this way and your price goes the other way. So you would need the demand supply to shift this way to increase it. Supply never shifted. We actually never caught up to the real before supply scenario. And if you read the Fed papers, it tells you the same thing. So now, what do you guys think happened? What do you think they're trying to do now in the stock market with unemployment and bringing inflation down?
They're trying to take money out of the market.
Yeah, but in terms of lines, what do you guys think they're trying to do here with supply and demand?
They want to move demand so supply can catch up.
They want to move this demand as far as possible, and the only way they can achieve that is how?
Cutting the people who's got the money to buy it.
One way is unemployment, right? So, and once you have unfavorable conditions in the market, right, Dumpster would know about this, your accountants and financial guys come in and they're like, hey guys, our revenue is not growing and we have a lot of overhead on the people. We're going to start cutting. And, we talked about this maybe 8 months back when I was telling you, if you're looking for a job, that was a time to look for 8 months ago. Right now, the table's flipped, right? So now there's a lot of unemployment being built up. Hold on one second. There's a lot of unemployment being built up, so they're naturally trying to basically, not through the interest rates, I'm telling you, the interest rates are, they do a little bit of damage, but companies, what happened during COVID and now when the demand shifted up and supply stayed the same, what do you guys think? What do you guys saw the companies do in terms of prices? What happened to the prices?
Increasing.
Yeah, the prices increased because the demand increased and supply stayed the same. So the companies figured, hey, I don't have to sell, 100 pairs of shoes. I can sell 20 pairs of shoes, but I can increase the price and still make the profit. And now they're like, okay, well, the supply is still a little flat, still the same. And I have 50 extra people, but I'm not producing more. So what should I do with these 50 people?
Bye-bye.
No, you get rid of them. You get rid of the people so you can have aggregate demand slow down while you work on your supply chain issues.
And give them a
And
permanent vacation.
you give them what?
A permanent vacation.
Pretty much. It's called RIFs, right? It's called reduction in force. And once they execute that, demand comes down, then you'll see analysts adjust the price targets and profits and EPS, and all of a sudden you're going to be like, man, how are you guys beating all these EPSs? Well, because the analysts started adjusting all of that, and now they're loading up on the shares. So that's why they buy in fear and sell in greed. And it's just a simple concept that I want to make sure that all of you guys understand. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at ES. Hopefully, somebody learned something new there because a lot of you guys buy at the top and then wonder, what's happening to my portfolio. Okay. So this was a simple chart that we had. We'll just remove all this plus this. Okay. So there was a couple of good rejections today that we had. There's one POC here that I was interested in watching, which was this one here. On ES, I'm still going to mark this guy because this is the imbalance that was created. So this is something I'll watch till maybe tomorrow and see if it doesn't hit tomorrow on the upside or downside. I'm probably going to be removing it and adjusting it.
It was what, 4003? Is it the VPOC? Yeah, I got that.
Yep.
Yeah,
So the
it's
reason
today's
why I'm
VPOC.
watching this is because a lot of volume on that sell-off was attributed here, and you guys see that we were never able even close to reclaim this level. If you're able to reclaim 4003, what does that tell you, Dumpster?
The bulls are in control and the market.
Change the
We've
structure.
changed the structure because we went over the, was it 3080? Yeah, 3080 is breaking structure.
Yep.
Or 3980.
So it would be good, once we change this right here and we break the 4,000, it would tell you the bulls are taking control over this really big POC that they created on that sell-off. And that's a fairly big deal. The next one I want to look at here, even with all of the volume, I want to see where we're accumulating now and look, kind of what happened today. And prior to today, let me see, yesterday, this was interesting because if you think I did it up to here, let's try here. Oh, it was somewhere else, maybe. See, where was it? I had a volume earlier today and it literally hit perfectly on the rejection. I don't know which one it was, but not that I care right now. But this is the POC now. If you think about it, the whole sell-off. So the POC kind of shifted, right? From here, then you see value area high. I mean, it has a really nice node here. So it's a really high. Can you guys see this or should I change the colors? I changed it so I can see it a little bit on the charts.
You should make the background black.
No. Not gonna do that. Yeah, so there's a lot of volume at this, value area high. So it's gonna be crucial. The 39.50 is gonna be an important level. If we're able to break above it on the retest, we have about 50 points that we can go. So 39.50 breaks, high chance we're gonna go to 4,000. And then 4,000 breaks, pretty sure we have some VPOCs in that range up top.
Hey, Shorty, that 39.50 or 39.49.50 is a. How did you get that level? I see the shelf, but is that from like a fixed volume profile or?
Yeah. Did you watch what I just did or?
I was trying. I missed it. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I did, I grabbed the sell-off from this point to the current. And you see where the POC, where the value area high is. That's our value area high from the sell-off to current volume. I'm just trying to see with the accumulation, right? And the sell-off, where are we with the POCs? And there's multiple ways to look at it, but this level tends to be pretty good just because we know how they feel about, even numbers and all of that. So I know 39.50 will be important, and this confirms it, right? And then if you look to the left, it's going to confirm it even more. So if you look here, let me just go in 65 minutes, it might look better. Right, so if you look here, look at this level right here that we kind of bounced off. So if I go here, see this level here, 39.57, we struggled to break it, we broke it, and we came back for the retest. So, and here you lose this, right? I mean, you went over it, you pop, so it acted as support, now you drop, and look here, you lost that support, and you even did a little retest on it. You see that right here? You came back below it, retest, and then you dumped. You never again came back close to it. So it's going to be a crucial level. If you're able to hop over it, come back for a retest, you get 40, 50 points to 403. And then if we come up here and we show weakness, or it depends how FOMC goes, there's a high chance that they reject it here again. But FOMC is more of a gambling tomorrow. It's better kind of to wait after 233 to trade than it is before, because I think it's going to be pretty flat in the morning. Okay. And then, so let's see here, we have this POC. So that POC is right there, I guess, dumpster, that's what you're talking about. And then a couple of there, but I'm not interested in those right now. Anything unusual in the volume profiles? The shapes?
Nah, they're all D's.
Yeah, it's unusually, usually when you're coming here and you're D-shaped volume profile, that means you're in balance and you're happy in buying. So here we popped higher, right? And we made a higher value area, but then immediately we dipped below on the value area below the POC, new value area low compared to both of these. So, and here, we made a lower low slightly, but they brought it back. So it will be super interesting tomorrow if we break this 38.50 level or 38.46. Once we break this, there's a high chance you're gonna go. I believe it was 38.30 that we had on the July POC. We'll bring it back up. We have 38.30 and then
38, 28.75 or something.
Yeah,
it can't be 38.75. It's 38.30 the POC.
Oh, I don't know about that.
You on the bet?
It's
You're off by $1.25, sir.
30.
Yeah,
Should be
either way.
38.28. Yeah. So there's the July. Does everybody have the July POC or is it different? I thought I had 38.20.
Yeah, same thing.
The same one.
How did I get this? Oh, run up. Sorry. I knew there
Yeah,
was
it's the
something.
run up.
Yeah, it's the run up POCs there.
You're on 4 hour.
I am. When I use monthlies on PvP, I use 4 hours. Always.
No, I thought you were saying July, so I just sorry. I assumed you were looking at like the standard volume profile.
I think what we were talking about is this one here.
Is there still a level at 38.49.25 as a run up POC?
I think it's 38.20, something like this here. This is what I get.
38.28.75.
Something like that, yeah. 38.26.50. But of course, we have a little. I'll draw a little box around this. Right. And on this run up here, usually I don't use that much. Let's see, where is this? Yeah, so that's good right here. Is that what you guys have for the 38.26?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now what is this? So this is July, value area low. And this will be a nice potentially bounce right here if we get there. I'm just gonna have to adjust this. Yeah, there you go.
Steady flossing. Can you mute your mic, please?
This level here was pretty stacked today, huh? July value area highs here as well. Oh, this was the July value area high and the weekly previous week value area low, right? So that had to be the case. Yeah, there goes the previous week POC 39. Yeah, 39.67 was the POC. 38.83. Wow, look at this week's value area, guys. Did anyone take a look at it so far? Still building, right? But look at this. How quickly they brought it back inside.
Yeah, it was off hours though. Like last night at like 2:30, 3:30 Eastern, I guess.
Yeah, look at that.
Yep.
Pop, drop. I would call it head and shoulders here. So this still remains to be the weekly, kind of like a VPOC here, right?
Yeah, it's close.
I mean, this is the week start. We never came back to the retest. Yeah, this is a pretty big level here. Gonna look at the daily sessions real quick. Does everybody know why we marked previous day value area high? There's a specific reason.
Sorry, you said why we marked the previous day value area high?
And low, yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
well, so
specific
the high, if you open above it and cross back below, that's very bearish. The low, if you open below it and cross back above it, very bullish.
Okay, that's correct. And what else can we apply from it?
I mean, if you cross above the low, you're going to take calls. If you cross below the high, you're going to take puts.
What about the 80% rule?
Yeah, 80% rule. So like you want to retest potentially of the value area or of either. If you cross below, you want like 3, 5, or 10-minute candles to close, get a retest, and then you enter, long or short, depending on which one's crossed.
Yep, good job. Yep, that's summarized. That's why we mark these. So the process that I kind of go to, and I look at it and then I kind of decide which way we go. So first, session POC, review the balances, right? Meaning, is there any imbalances in the profile? How's the structure of the profile? So let me put this here. Session POC, and then if any VPOCs, you mark them. Right. 2, look at weekly POCs. 3, monthly POCs. I only look at 2 months prior, or depending how we are behaving, just to see where we are. If we need a little bit more, then I'll look at the previous months.
So then what does the value area low and the value area high for July, why are those marked?
What do you mean? Why?
Like if you go, well, because you're saying that the monthly is important for the POCs, but you also have July value area low, I believe, marked.
Yeah, of course, yeah. They're all important. I didn't say they're not important. I was just asking, why is the previous day value area high and low important, right? And it's to help us identify if you open above it and you fall back inside the previous value area, that's usually bearish. And if you open below it and you go above it, you retest long on the value area low. And when I look for June POC, July value area, these levels become really good support and resistances. So
Okay.
that's why I marked them.
Would you mark past weeks value area high and lows?
Yes, of course, yeah.
Okay.
I did. Right.
Got it. Thank you.
So you always want to do that. At least I do. I mean, so if you look at this is our week prior, and you want to do it on 1 hour. If you look at this is our previous. The only reason why I didn't mark the low here, there's already so much crap in that area that the best thing you could do if you ever feel like you got this and you don't want it to be kind of confusing. You see how we have the PD value area high? You can kind of make a zone here, right? And just change the text. There. I just don't want too much noise, right? And what you can do here is, this is why. Something like that would make sense, right? So now, and then you just kind of look at the chart, right? So if you open today, where are we? What's today? 20th? So 9:30 here, we really never made higher highs, right? I mean, if you think about it here, we dumped, we failed to make higher high. This tiny little supply that we had, if you look to the left. So if I was to grab this volume profile from here to here, or here to here, you guys see where the POC is? there was a lot of volume here, right? And they tried to defend that. You guys see how they tried to defend it here to go up, and then they did another fake here, and then they dumped it, and they were never able to reclaim this buying POC. So this tells you that, maybe the buyers thought they could kind of squeeze it in and trigger kind of like a short rally, but yeah, they were not really strong. And this was a good sign that they're not gonna make it today, right? If you looked at this, this was a beautiful sign. Once you dipped below it, look, bounce, and look, you came right to it and rejected it. And now the same thing happened here. You had a nice little sell-off. So tomorrow, and you see how important this previous day POC is going to be important. Super, super important tomorrow. Even the sell-off POC, majority of the volume is accumulated here. Once we dip below it, it's probably going to be a good retest on the short side here. Okay. So ideally, if we wanted to go long, how would you guys play it?
The retest of the break of the POC.
Which POC?
I needed to see it go above that previous day value area high and that previous week value area low.
That's exactly it. But I personally would not take it till we clean a little bit higher. Because remember, if you looked at the weekly POC here, so if I go here on 1 hour, you'll see something interesting, right? So here, do you see where the volume starts really like looking good for long? It's kind of right here.
Yeah, so well at I think it's 39 or sorry, yeah, 3900. You
Yeah,
have like
right above it.
resistance, resistance, resistance. I'd
Mhm.
like to see that become support and take it
Yep.
along there.
And I was hoping somebody catches it. So
Yeah,
I think
right
he's
there.
talking about this right here.
Yes.
So obviously we had, the resistance, we kind of bounced, we dipped below, we came here. And remember, I told you, you're not going to get every one of these perfect. So this is okay here. Drawing a little box around it just to catch these. Now you see, hey, we dipped here below it. If you're able to get here pre-W, value area low, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if you should take it necessarily. The current week value area high that's being developed is right here. So not a lot of meat, in between here to chase that. So if they stay in this area, that's kind of market makers making money on the theta burn. So I would definitely watch that. If we go and break, so if you look at this, where's this daily? If you're able to break that 38.84, you have a chance to run to 39.05. Remember, weekly POC is still developing. Those levels are not set. Those levels are not as strong as the week to finish, right? So because those levels are going to be adjusted and recalculate. So if you wanted to go long aggressive over 3885, I would call it, but right above this POC here, I would 386. I would go above that on the retest, and just know the 3905 level. I think it was 3904 previously is going to come real quick, and you should probably scale out. And then if we break this level, could get this right here. And what is this called right here? When you have a structure, right? You guys see that we have a structure here.
Create an imbalance or acceptance.
Bring
Yeah, but there's a specific term I'm using how we call it. Yeah, that's a creek. This would be a creek. A spring is on the bottom, right? So this here today was a spring. You see that we had, if you drew a little box around here, this was a spring because this was lower high. And look, from here, we popped almost, what is this, like 30, 40 points. So this was a little spring. And now here you're waiting for a creek on this one. More aggressive people, we have those. You have that one. And then dependent where we open, let's say this goes here. You can short here, independent where everything else is building. But you don't have a lot of meat on this kind of move here, right? 3873, 359, so about 14 points. And it's pretty tight. Once we break below this level, things open up a little bit, right? And especially here, 3826, be aware of the 3800 of the retail level here. Know that they can bounce it from there and buy some calls and return the, the
Is it?
delta.
Yeah. Is it really retail, or is it just retail buying the even numbers and causing the market makers to have to hedge at those levels?
Pretty much, yeah. So they,
Okay.
because market
Okay.
makers want to be delta neutral.
Yep.
So when you start buying a bunch of calls in abundance, well, for each call, depending on what the delta, how far out of the money or in the money they are, they have to buy that many shares.
Yep.
So they kind of have to play by the rules. And this is a pretty good spot here if we break this for short. So let's see. Okay, so everybody clean on ES levels wise plan. And tomorrow, I'm telling you, do not be the guy, man, I shouldn't have traded. If you have not traded it before, do not FOMO, do not do not think it's the last day of the stock market and do something like that, because it's gonna hurt you. Okay. All right, NQ. I think NQ. See here. Yeah. So nothing really changed here. The only thing I'm gonna add here is 30 minutes. Yeah, nothing really changed here. You just added. You made a higher high here previously on the value area high, and you really never did anything with that.
So I got a quick question for you. It's something you taught us a while, maybe a few weeks back or before that. You know how when you're inside the structure, right? You have not structure, like a range, the range structure, and then inside that structure, you're having a you know, higher low, or
On the bottom
lower
like this.
low, lower. Yeah. Typically, when you see that, even if you're not looking for, bear flag or bull flag, anything like that, when those are like that, when it's running like, it's an indication whether it's a, big space or not. It's an indication of bullish versus, lower low, being bearish. Is that something that you notice that it plays out even into like some of the next days as far as like open and all that kinds of stuff?
I honestly never tracked like the probabilities of it. I've just noticed the pattern occur more times than not whenever this happens. So like this one here, more times than not, maybe the liquidities are here as well, so they're coming back to get it and hitting people's stop losses. But at the same time, when we have a nice structure like we did here, it hits the top, and then you have a failed structure like you do here. Usually, for me, as I told you guys, there's something that goes in my brain. It's like, hey, lights up, just be careful. We might not go to the bottom. We might rip through this, right? And you see here, they rejected. They created a new kind of the main zone here, and then once they did that, they're able to run and break it. Failed here, now failed here. They're not able to reclaim that. I guess September value area high in this case. So for me, it just lights up like, hey, something's not right. Like we're no longer looking for a range, because what I'm noticing here, even the volume has not picked up, and I don't know what time. And this was opening drive here. They picked up the opening drive here, and you see they jumped up to here, but then there was volume, nice little pickup in volume here towards the end of the day, and they're able to break that structure. And then the next day, you see kind of follow the pattern. You should defend this level. They tried to defend it. They broke below it. They went, I guess, I don't know when this PD value area high was set, but you kind of break it. You go to this level that we had marked. You rejected it, and then you're still kind of below that value area high. So it tells me that just heads up. If I'm bearish, just kind of turns my bearishness into, hey, be realistic at the moment. I have not checked statistics how many times does it occur or that. If that's what you're after, I don't have it. Does that help D or?
Yeah, because that was it's funny, and not statistically speaking, or the track from the every other night. It's just one thing I noticed that when you talk and I started watching that, it seemed to me, again, just some of the trades I traded, that it almost seems to indicate that that's what the market makers are trying to do. They're setting it up to run in that direction. Of course, we get caught on the wrong side of it, get burned, but
Yep.
you know,
And a lot of people, once they're coming here, a lot of people, their weakness is they prematurely get into the puts or prematurely get into the calls where there's no confirmation on it, and that's how they lose money. All of us, right? So
I
here,
did that today.
yeah, there you go. So
Yep.
here you have a lower low, you're making a higher low, and you're failing to break the higher high, so you're consolidating. So you're pretty much in a structure, but these lows need to touch this structure low to confirm you're in a range and ranging and people are happy. And the one thing that we can do to confirm it, how do you guys know we can confirm it in terms of like, hey, I want to know if this is right or wrong, like where we are bouncing or whatnot. The only thing that we have is volume.
Yeah,
The
volume
rest.
profile.
So here, if you take a look at it, this is the value area high right here, which is at 11,960, and look where we reject it. Kind of almost perfect rejection. Even if you take out the day to day, it'll probably be a perfect rejection. And that, it's right here is the bottom. So like this level here, yeah, it has a nice support pre-PD val. So this little here, it'll act as a kind of like a demand zone, these levels here. And you don't want to be caught trading in between them, even if it's 17 points. You do not want to be trading there. Once we break this, then you have the structure low that's coming here, 1178. So not a decent drop. And then it opens up 11703. Then you have 11609, which ultimately are going to come up to this guy. I'm pretty certain we're going to be here sooner than later at this run up POC. And why is my run up POC different? Run up POC guys have an NQ? Because mine's changed for some reason. I have 11662. But my value area low did not change. That's weird. So on NQ, just kind of look at the levels, right? The importance of it. So you have a nice little trend line here as well, which is not to be ignored. Let's see, previous day value area. So, I mean, if we can reclaim this probably around this area, previous day value area high, and this little zone here, that's probably good enough for some calls here, right? If you want to reclaim this, you have about 30 points. You can go to PD value area high. You break that, you have the 1219 level here. So I would definitely watch that. Probably put it here, 1217. Put that there, and then once you start breaking these levels, you have the upside here. And then the SVPs, I'm pretty sure there's a VPOC somewhere around here. So there's one here that we have a 12.3, and that's it. It's only one remaining. And this POC here, what is this? Just want to see. Okay, that's this level here. So that still remains a good short opportunity if you ever get there at 12, call it 12.3. Once we arrive there, that's probably not a bad spot to short. Okay. So talking about risk management, some of you guys, I look at your profits, I look at your trade logs, I look at the stuff, and what I noticed on a lot of people, and I'm going to pick on Rayan first. He's done great for the past, I would say, almost 2.5 weeks. He did pretty good. I praised him, and then what does he do today?
throws
It was
it,
yesterday.
throws it all away.
And he
Yesterday.
literally took all the money that he made, which I think was about $1,800, and he lost it in a day. Okay, so to me, first of all, what he's trying to do is to grow his account rapidly. He wants to accelerate the growth of the account, which breaks the rules of compounding, right? The rule of compounding says do not break the compounding. And right now, he just broke the hell out of the compounding because he took a 1,700 hit. Took him 2 weeks to build. It took him an hour to lose. If the market is not, the conditions of the market are not favorable, and you guys should know that by now. What day was it? Was it Monday where I said, man, I'm just done. I'm not trading anymore. This is just, it's not right to be looking at this and trading. You have to learn how to step away, and then you have to know when to size down and up. When should we size up, and what type of days should we size up?
Right.
Yeah, you want to go in the trend days. You want to be sizing up, not in a tight range days. I don't think you want to be sizing up then. And a lot of you guys ignore the facts of what's going on around you. If the market is trending, yeah, then play the next levels up, play the retests on the higher lows and higher highs. Play the retest and get a little bit larger position if you can. Still manage your risk, right? You don't have to go 100% of your portfolio to go in a position. If you're used to doing, let's say, 10%, well, just increase it by 5% or go 20%, double your position size. A lot of you guys want to make, you see some profits from people, and that's the problem. People want to compete with other people, but if Rayan puts it in his head and he starts competing with himself, hey man, I made $70 and I was happy yesterday. Let's see if I can make another $100 today. Well, instead, his head was so full, he was overconfident, and then I promised you, eventually the market will really, really humble you, and you're gonna regret it. Right when you start compounding, even if you do, a lot of people are like, man, it's so much easier to make money with $100,000 than it is with 1,000. How's that true? That's not true at all. That's just a bias. If you don't have risk management with 1,000 and you don't apply risk management with 100,000, you're gonna be the same trades. I promise you're gonna blow away the 100,000 as quickly or quicker than $1,000. You have to identify the conditions that we are in. You should not trade more than 20% of your portfolio at all. Your losses of percent of the portfolio should not be more than a couple of percents per day. If the trade is not working out rather quickly in your favor, and if you break your stop losses and if you break certain supports, you need to close the trade. I mean, I don't know why you guys add to a losing positions, but you guys fail to add to a winning position. Remember when we talked about Amazon, the puts that we had? Does anyone recall?
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, and what did I say? I should put $40,000 in these puts and just walk away. Because the setup was there and the setup was doing exactly as I expected it to. I told you guys it's gonna go up. Our entry was 173 on those puts. I think they went to like 3.6. Then they dropped them all the way to 2.4, and I was still in a position, full position, and I mentioned it. I'm looking for 6 to 7 on these puts. Because the setup was there and I believed my setup, and they never hit my stop loss. So my mistake was that when we started going up and then we came back for a retail, I should have added more. Instead, I didn't, which is okay. I still made decent money, but you want to add to your winning positions. And even if you don't add to a winning position, don't add to your losing position. In every trade that you take, if you do not have a plan where you're going to get in, where you're going to get out, and what is your stop loss, which is the most important piece of your trade. You have to be a risk manager before you're a profit manager. As soon as that flips, where you're more worried about profit, not your stop loss, you're going to lose your account every single time. You're here, you're almost like a tiny little arbitrage guy in the market that's trying to make crumbs while the big boys are making millions and billions. Well, if you do it right and you add up your little crumbs over 10 years, well, then maybe you're going to be in the market with the big boys where, you're taking 200K trade for $1 move and you get $200,000 on the move. But that doesn't mean it happens overnight. And for a lot of you guys, you know, and I warned you about this, whenever you have a couple of weeks good, it's not a bad idea to pay yourself. Take some out of the account, reset the account so that psychologically you have to redo everything over. Because some of you guys, you know, you go from $1,000, you get it 4,000, then you're like, man, I blew my account. Well, what you should have done is you should have taken 3 grand and put it into your account and start over with 1,000. And do that 5 times, right, in a month. And 5 times 3,000, that's 15 grand. Instead, you guys see 15 grand in your account, and what do you guys typically do? Oh man, I have more cash. I can size up. I can go. I mean, I just don't understand. Some of you guys go from 1 contract to 10 contracts when your account only grew from 1,000 to 3,000. Like, that to me doesn't make sense. Your account grew 200%, but your position sizing went up by 1,000. And it should not be more than 20%. So if you're trading SPX and your account's, you know, let's say 1,000, you really, really, really should not put in more than $200 per trade. And what that means, when should you be buying or trading SPX if your, you know, your balance is like that? At what time should you be trading SPX?
End of the day. Last hour.
Yeah, you want to look at the end of the day, and that's because the data is going to eat most of the contracts. Like today, uh, I forgot which one we played for 200%, but we caught, I believe it was calls. I know we caught calls and puts, but the calls went 200%, and I think the puts went also 200%, and I think it was a matter of minutes. And the contracts went from $1, I believe, to 3, and then I think, I don't know if Macari's on. He was in the same ones. He got the same fill as I did. I think it was
Shorty
38.
went to 4.
4? No, I think 3820s went to 5. 3820s went to 5.
Yeah, or more, yeah, because mine went to 4 something.
Yeah, so the 3820s, we grabbed them at 2, which is $200. And, you know, we knew the levels where we were getting. We took a value area high rejection, and we drove it all the way down. And the contracts went to 5, and you close it. Even if you closed it at 4, make 100%. Even if you closed it for 20%, 20%, if you can gain 20%, does everybody understand the compounding and gaining 20% on your account? Does anyone have an idea? How does it look like? Who doesn't?
I don't.
I don't.
Okay, for people that don't, let me give you a scenario and an idea of how you can grow your account. I'm just gonna set this up. Let me move this. So let's say you have a starting balance here of, let's call it $1,000, right? We'll just do, guys want to do 1 year? Here, we'll just do 265.
Do 6 months, Shorty.
Yeah, we'll do both. So here's 265. What do you guys want to grow your account? The people that don't know, 3 days, that's $51,000, half a year. But and in a year, you just grow at 3% daily. Ooh. Do you guys see what happens with the compounding? Does everybody see this, or is there anybody confused?
I see it, yeah.
And a lot of you guys, your mindset is too small. You do not, you want to be rich quick. I don't want to be rich quick. I want to have a net worth. I want to be wealthy. There's a difference between rich and wealthy. And a lot of you guys just want to be rich. If you want to be rich, let me make it a little bit bigger. If you want to be rich, that's not going to be something that you strive and you make it. Most of you guys want to be rich. You guys skip this. So let's say you go here, an actual balance let's say first trade you hit, you make 1400, then it goes to 1700, then it goes 2100, it goes 4300, and then you guys, or the overconfidence kicks in, and then this drops to 1200. You're still ahead of the schedule, but you just broke a really nice compounding here. Instead, even if you just aim for this, even if you make, hey, I need to grow $30 in between here, 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 and you see how that increases. It grows from, 30s, it goes to 40s, and then you see here from 31, it goes to hundreds. Once you hit, 10,000, it goes into 300s. So the beauty of this is the discipline and the risk management. You
Sorry.
cannot achieve this if you do not have your stop losses identified before you enter.
Can you hear me,
You will
Shorty?
not make it. Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up?
Okay. No, I was just having internet issues. My Discord's not connected, but everything's working, so I didn't want to restart it. I was just making sure you can hear me. That's all.
Yep. And
Sorry.
somebody said, can you do 10%? Yeah, I mean, if you do, you know, like, you do 10%, which is pretty hard, guys. That's very, very hard to do on a portfolio.
Can you save this file and send it in the chat or somewhere?
Yeah, I can save it. I mean, you guys see the numbers, 10%. This is astronomical numbers. Like, I don't even know if I can read the number. Dempster probably can.
Sure, is this just about trading XPX or other options?
It doesn't matter what you trade. The concept of compounding doesn't care if this is Tesla, XPS, SPX. You trade what your balance allows, right? So if your balance allows max investment, you can literally just take this, here and multiply by 0.20. So your max investment is 200. Then here, you go on and just grab, and your investment that you can go on, it kind of increases as well. So hopefully that makes sense, right? And I mean, and this, as you get more advanced in your processes and repeatable processes, this becomes becomes a little bit easier to manage and a little bit more risk proof than at the beginning. The reason why I tell people do it for 30 days, right? Like do it for 30 days here, because once you have 30 days of continuous growth like this, right? You take $1,000 and you're continuously grow it, let's say 2%. Most of the time, you guys will hit some bangers, let's say at 5%. You hit this, I mean, yeah, you just confirm to yourself that you can do it. Then just reset it again, do it again. See if you can do it again. I mean, how many people, I mean, and I know this, to make $3,300 a month, some people have to work 160 hours. Like you have to put in a lot of physical work to make that kind of money. So the next time when you're thinking about not taking the $50 profit or not taking another, $52 profit, think about it again. Some of you guys, even though you're in a group, you're not making more than $5,000 a month. After taxes and after all of it, you guys are not there. So you think about it here. I mean, you could be making 5 grand if you just stay disciplined. You look for the perfect setup. And there's a couple of people on this call, and I would say it wasn't me that changed their trading, but it's their discipline that triggered it. Dr. Red, how's the one trade a day been doing for you past 4 weeks?
It's been pretty good, man. I ain't gonna tell you no story, man. That was a harder mental adjustment, but just just to be fair, man, I think when I started off, it was just I started off kind of bumpy on the first couple of trades, like the first day, and it was just a small loss. Second day win, small win. Third day was a small loss. After that, just like win after win after win after win for probably like 10 or 11 days. And then, I got frustrated that one day I wasn't in the right mindset. And it was the right trade, but it's the wrong day. But after that, it was just win after win after win. So,
Yep. And you
green.
don't have to give the number. Well, what's your account up in 4 weeks that you stuck to one trade per day?
You talking about the amount or the percentage?
Whatever you're comfortable talking about.
Oh, let me look. I had it pulled up. I mean, it's up, man. I'm probably up 300%, I think.
So he's up 300%, guys, on his account. The rules that we identified for him is to trade only one per day, and he has to identify the entry and the stop loss on his charts before he even sits down to trade. So that means he's doing the homework at night. He identifies the levels. He looks at all the things that we kind of teach and preach, right? Look at the volume profiles, look at the VPOCs. He does use some clouds as well, like daily clouds, weekly clouds, to kind of identify the levels. Once he puts all that together, I mean, when you think about it, I can, he can feel comfortable to share his previous logs, but they were all over the place. They were red here, tiny little green, and then he gets hit by a red little spree of 3-4 days. It was totally opposite of what we wanted to see, right? When you're growing an account, you want to be consistently green. And now, finally, that he's kind of doing that, he's seen, I would say you had 2 red days in 3 weeks. And that's the discipline it takes. I'm not saying that every day here, when you think about it, you're not going to have every day to be green. It's impossible. But the days that you are red, you should not really take a big hit. You should not take a bigger hit than your compounding growth rules dictate. If you want to grow at, let's say some people want to grow at 3%, you should never lose more than 3%. So that should be your stop loss, right? So you should know, let's say, I don't know, your balance here is a 1,000. So if this is your rule, your loss on your account should never be, under the beginning of the day, should never be more than $30. Because once your account drops to 950, let's say your account drops to 900. How much percentages do you need to gain to get it back to 1,000? Lumpster, just ignore the question. You're not allowed.
Is it 11?
10%?
It's more than 10%.
Oh, it's more than 10%, guys. 10% gets you to 990. You lost 10% because you guys saw this, right? You guys saw that you lost 10%. This is 10%, right? The loss was 10%. But now, to go back to 1,000, you have to gain a little bit more. You guys see what I'm trying to show you? So the more you let it slip away from you, the lower your balance goes and the bigger risk you take, the more it actually takes to get it back. So if I drop this to 50%, let's say here,
You need to make 100% to make it
5
back.
here. I mean, if I'm at 500 and I want to go to 1,000, guys, I have to make 100% on this.
Yep.
Do you guys see that? Come on.
Yeah.
You have to do twice as much work to get it back to where it was. And that's what frustrates me with some of you guys, especially Rand. Like, he started doing really good. He started, his account was probably somewhere in the 3 grand range, I believe, somewhere around here. He was well ahead of the curve here. And then he lets one trade. He probably, oversized on something, or, I even saw Mr. Bean today get into 20 contracts, which is not something that I usually see for Mr. Bean. And that's because you're a mental weakness, right? You were not in the right state of mind, and you were not following the rules and the guidelines that you put for yourself. And whenever that happens, you're most likely going to lose money. As soon as you start oversizing on your account and you want to make it quicker, the market tells you, hey, come back here. Let me teach you a lesson. And I don't know if Dirty Max is on the call, but he's a prime example in this group of how that works. And the best thing that I did when I started trading is, why should I not take the trade? Instead of asking why, why is it good, ask yourself, why is it bad? Why should I not take this trade? And see if there's a lot of stuff why you should not take the trade, then you don't take the trade. You should not have many doubts when you're taking a trade. And then finally, I mean, I have not, and I've been around some successful people in trading and in finance. The people that I dealt with, like one of my friends, his dad's a CEO of an investment company. The guy logs every single day of his life into a journal. Why do you guys think he logs the journals so much every day of his life?
Reflection.
Reflection, yeah. And you guys should, like, obviously, he's really, really intelligent. Like talking to him, the guy learns from his mistakes just through reflecting through his journal. And holy shit, like he has about 50 of them in his drawers. And why do you guys think that I tell you the mandatory journaling of your trades?
To see where you went wrong.
Yeah, guys,
Notice
because
trends.
the confidence works the same way. If I see, hey, I took a setup here, in your notes, right? You have the note section in there. I took value area high rejection, drove to POC, took profit. And you notice that every one of these setups was green. It's telling you that this is your setup. This is what you should trade, and this becomes your baby. And you don't deviate. You don't have to add anything to it. You stay focused, laser focused, and that's your setup. If you notice, I played a bull flag and you lost negative 500 on it every time. Oh, maybe bull flags, you don't understand how to play it. You're just doing the same thing over and over and not changing anything about it. So the journal and the logging of the journal in trading is probably the far most important thing next to risk management. If you don't do it, you're not going to make it. And that's just being kind of honest and for everyone. You're not going to make it. You're just going to be spinning in circles because a lot of people, either you're serious about trading and you want to make money, or it's a bad hobby. Because trading is a really bad hobby, guys. If you guys, you think it's a fun hobby and you have a significant other and you guys have a merged account and you use some side money to trade, do me a favor. Tell them how much money you made or lost since you started trading and see their reaction. Like, it doesn't make sense for other people to support you when you're not taking anything serious to change it. Unless you're living off of the trading, it's a hobby for you, right? And it could be a nice, growth, but as long as you're profitable and you have discipline to grow it, it's good. But if you're constantly, you lose $5,000 in an account and you're like, man, I got it this time. You put in another $5,000 and it goes away and you're like, man, third time, I got it. But you don't change any behavior. That's just, I mean, that's just stupid. And I don't pick on anyone, but I'm trying to trigger something in you to do something about it, right? The mandatory logging is super, super important. Log your trades. It feels good when you look at your log and you see 5 weeks of green, does it not? Like, I mean, some of you guys have achieved it, some of you guys are working towards it. Doctor, how does it feel when you look at your weekly? When I asked you to send me the weekly log, how does it feel when you see 5 weeks green or 3 weeks green now?
Man, so it's smiling, man. I'm like, I for those that, just want to know, man. Sometimes you need that punch in the face. But Shorty gave me a punch in the face one day. I'll tell you what, it's helped me to change. But to answer the question, it feels to just see the constant green. Every trade, it's challenging. It's hard.
It will change your mindset, guys. It literally alters your mind and mindset, and confidence changes. But if you're constantly in a red and you don't know that you're in a red, you're most likely not going to change the behavior that you're doing. So when you think about risk management, I mean, it really think of yourself as a risk manager, not a profit manager. You need to print that out, stick it in the morning, and just tell yourself, today I'm managing risk. Any profit is great. And just, I mean, I just showed you, if you think 10% is not good, daily, uh, you need to do a math class because that 10% becomes a couple of $1 million in a year. And to achieve this is, I mean, everybody would be a billionaire if it's easy to achieve. Einstein said it, those that understand the compounding interest, they live a comfortable life. And those that don't will always be in debt. So it just depends where you want to be in life. And, you got to ask yourself, why are you trading? Are you trading to, have a better life for you, for your family, your wife, whatever that reason might be? But there has to be a deeper reason than just making money, right? Money kind of comes and goes, life comes and goes, but, you have to find a deeper reason why you're trading. And once you understand that reason, for me, it's buying back time and travel.
Yeah, that's two of my reasons. I have another reason too. And that's I live kind of a dangerous lifestyle, like riding motorcycles all the time. And if anything happens to me, I don't want my wife to have to ever worry about anything as far as taking care of herself or the kids.
Yep, and that's a good reason, right? But you gotta dig deep, and when you're trading and taking losses, you're not the only one losing. If you have family, your kids, you're potentially losing something for them as well. You lose a couple of grand, well, you could have bought a couple of nice shares with 5 grand and maybe collect some dividends. That's also some sort of compounding. It is compounding. So you're stealing from not only yourself, you're stealing from the family, you're stealing potentially from the friends. Because when you're not trading good, you have red days. I think your behavior and how you interact with people also changes. And I'm telling you this from experience as well. You're not born green trader. You go through a period of struggle, a lot of struggle, and those that sustain it and those that learn from it, those that put their guidelines, they put their rules, they come up, right? And you think about it, a lot of people like the flashy life. Me personally, I could care less. But I like to, like I said, if I can buy my time back, if I can buy travel, that's what I do.
I think you said
Besides securing my kids' education and all that stuff, that's almost like a mandatory thing. But time is the most important thing for me. So hopefully it wakes something up for you tomorrow when you're trading. But think of yourself as a risk manager.
you said something really
You're
important too, Shorty. Like my wife used to be able to tell every time I had a red day because my attitude would suck. I would be grumpy. And now, like, I don't trade with emotions. And she can't tell if I've had a good day or a bad day because it's irrelevant. I know if I follow the plan and I trade properly and manage my risk properly, I'm gonna have red days here and there, but it shouldn't affect my mood. It shouldn't affect how I interact with my family and whatever else. And you know, your day should be indifferent because as long as you're managing your risk properly, everything else will follow.
exactly. So remember, if you lose only 3% of your account, if you're aiming 3% growth, that's okay. But if you lose 25% of the account and you're growing at 3%, now you got a little bit of work to do because you broke the compounding. And it's the same mindset, right? I mean, hey, wife, I made $1,500. Hey, wife, I made $1,500. Why don't you guys do an experiment with your wife? Every day, tell her you made, for 5 days, tell her you made 5K per day for 5 days. On Monday, the following Monday, tell her you lost 70K. And just do it. Just
I
just
don't
do it as an
I
do it
don't
as an experiment and tell me how it goes on Monday.
I won't be here to breathe. Like I won't be here to talk to you the following day.
Yeah, but it's no different than losing $1,000, losing 300, 300, 300, or making 300, 300, 300, and then losing 1,700. It's just a bigger scale.
Yeah, but I'll be dead.
That's okay. You deserve to be dead.
No, if I make that joke, I'll be dead.
Oh, the joke.
If I tell her that, I'll be dead. Like I won't be trading with you anymore, Shorty. Our friendship will be over. You'll have to come
Yeah,
to my
that's pretty
funeral.
good. One less person to mentor, guys. So a spot opens up. Do
Damn.
it. Just kidding. But yeah, try to do something like that to see, right? And you're gonna have, of course, you're gonna, the wives are supportive, family supportive. They will support you, but you're gonna feel bad because deep down you know you're lying, right? And if you're being honest with yourself, try being honest with them as well, right? Whether it's a good day or a bad day. And the best part is what Catching Rockets mentioned. And somebody in our Discord, I think 2 days ago or Monday, I think it was ITS Tony. He reminded me of Josh from our Discord. He was really ecstatic, right? He made a couple of $100, and then by the end of the day, I knew he was going to overtrade and maybe lose all of it. And usually those things happen because you guys get excited and you show emotion too much on the winning side. You show emotion on the losing side as well. I just don't know why you have emotions at all when you're trading. You need to eliminate it as much as possible, right? When you guys see me messing around, sending those raccoon, whatever, I'll catch you or whatever, gifts, my heart rate, if you guys were to measure it, it does not go up or down. I'm still the same person. I'm still the same trader. Like today, guys, I was trading from the phone, and I hate trading on Toss Mobile. On the small account, I was able to make almost, I think, $850 using one contract purchases. Take one from 1 to 3, one from 2 to 5. Take what was it? I believe I took 3,800s. But it's a smaller account. I'm gonna take some profits quicker because I want to grow it. On my bigger account, I was able to hold some runners on 3,800s from 11 to like 24, 11 to 25. But that's because I have some leverage, right? I had 10. I made a couple of K on the first 8, and then the 2, I just let them run. I let them do most of the work for the profits. And then you just place a trailing stop and you enjoy the profits. But a lot of you guys, when I say I entered a lotto, do you guys think I enter lottos with my own money?
No, you use profits.
I never, I never enter lottos with my own money. I use their money. I use market makers' money. I'm gonna use their money tomorrow as well. And if I lose $30 on a lotto, that's okay. That's their money. It was my money, but I didn't want it. I wanted to see if I could take that, like we did today a couple of times. Take that, low contracts from 1 to 300. That's good money. If you didn't take that profit, then something's obviously wrong with you. Making 200% in 30 seconds, that's insane. Just know, making that kind of money, like let's say you compound this at 50%. I mean, guys, this is you're a millionaire in day 18. You're a millionaire. You have to compound and grow your account with base hits. All the guys that make 10K a month now, we like my goal is 10K per day, but I didn't start with 10K per day. My goal was the same goal like you guys have here. Like it's the same thing that you have here. I started out this and I failed multiple times, but I was able to kind of figure it out and take notes, apply it, take notes, fail, 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 and then something, and I don't know how to explain it. One day it's just gonna be like, fuck, something clicks. And I don't know how to explain the feeling. And I know there's people in this, maybe even on this call, but something clicks and you don't know how to explain it. And it just happens, right? And I know for some people are really close to that, but the only thing they lack is discipline. So the discipline is the only, they themselves are stopping for not growing. So hopefully that at least does something for you and moving forward. And if we need to have these sessions um, more often where you talk, reflect, I'm okay with that. But some people that I mentored, I will get into your face if I'm mentoring you because just think about it. I don't have to mentor you. Nobody has to do it. Even if you pay money, nobody has to do it. Time is expensive. Time, there's no price on time. And if somebody's giving you their time and you're not taking that time seriously, well, excuse my language, but fuck you. Like, why would I put my time when you're not taking it seriously and you don't want to learn and you're not changing your behavior? I'm giving you all the tools. A lot of you guys here, I would say, honestly, I would say we had a new batch of traders that came through the Discord last month. I would say they're still fresh. Technically, they don't understand a lot of it yet. Within 2 months, they'll understand the technical side. After that, they have 2 months of the mental side to combine with the technical side. And after that 6 months, something might click. But do you guys know what happens in 30 days for the most people?
They leave.
They quit.
They leave.
They leave and they're like, man, Shorty doesn't know what he's talking about. Or maybe they're like, man, this is just not for me. But they didn't even scratch the surface of the world of trading. And the next thing they do, they're like, okay, man, there's this guy, Sam, that charges $1,000 a month. They go there, they pay $1,000, and then they realize, oh shit, I'm not going to learn anything here. Maybe I'll have $1,000 and I'll make $500, and then the next trade, I'll lose it all. You cannot go hopping from education to education. Math in the world never changed. I would say it barely changed for the past 100 years. I mean, Egyptians built pyramids on the same geometry that we use today. But the mindset does. Your psychological composure, the psychological you changes a lot. And I think more so now than ever are humans shifting, right? Instant gratifications. I mean, once you have all these social platforms, and most people on platforms, do they ever post, man, I had a horrible day today, I feel sad, express their feelings when they have a bad day, or only post when they're on a vacation?
Mostly just good stuff.
Yeah, from my friends that I have never seen somebody post a negative post on their social, not negative, but expressing feelings in a way that maybe they're depressed, they're having a hard time. People don't do that. So what you see is happiness, people driving Lambos, people driving this, boats, vacations. And then a lot of people are not doing it, but they're not posting it. And you, if you're not doing it, now you're like depressed because, and then you do the trades and you do unsuccessful trades. You keep repeating unsuccessful trades, and then it just compounds on the bad side.
They're also not
And you,
showing how drowning in debt they are.
well, exactly, yeah. All of those things play a role. And if you want to gain, from this world, financial freedom that we're in now, if you want to call it kind of like Keynesian economics, it's all about printing money and you being a wasteful consumer. The more you spend, the better the economy is. I mean, I just showed you with supply and demand. The people they don't like is people like Dumpster, a guy that doesn't drive a car. Just he will go from Colorado to Georgia on a bike. It means they're I'm not saying don't do that, but don't be wasteful. If you don't need shit, don't buy it. It's better think about wealth instead of thinking about rich. You can be rich for a couple of days. I mean, people win lotteries here and there. They win $100 million lottery, and what do you know? In 3 years, they're homeless again. It's because the mindset was never built to be rich or wealthy. It was lucky rich, and you lose it back all. And you have a lot of athletes that do that as well. Look at Mike Tyson, right? It's knowing how to be wealthy and how to act and behave is what's going to get you there. And you're not going to become wealthy overnight. That takes years to build. So when you trade, and if you're up $40, just take it. It's the $40 that you never had, and it's a start to compounding. The next day you're up $100. Take it, and that's it. Call it a day. You just increased your account by 20% in 2 days, and your goal is 3%. So you're well ahead of the goal.
Sure, I don't mean to interrupt. I have an issue though. Whenever I have a buying power, somehow like I just have a trigger finger to like always been afraid. That has always been my biggest problem.
When you have buying
Mainly,
power to keep trading.
yes.
Okay. So do you have goals for, your day? Do you track your growth? Do you log your trades?
So I just started. Of course, I just joined you all over the weekend. Started yesterday. So
Okay.
my goal is yesterday was 10%, which I met, and today I met the 10%. However, I end up taking a Roku call trade that it kind of went against me, and somehow I didn't cut it off.
And did you lose the both 10% that you made?
Uh,
Did you lose
no.
20%?
Well, actually, the Roku call I took it twice. The first one I made 10%, and the second one I need to. I haven't gone on it yet.
Are you? I'm sorry, but are you saying you swung Roku calls?
Yes, but I'm down 30% on it.
Yeah, you're gonna be down
So
about
it's
80% more. So I'm not
so
trying to rub
so
it in your
it
face, but it's gonna be a bad trade.
yes, that is just from looking at it. I took 70 call.
Weeklies?
Yes, this week for this week.
Well, I don't know what religion you believe in. Today is the day you wanna be looking at 68.46 on this value area low,
Yeah.
and just pray that somebody answers your prayer.
Yes. I would say
You had
amen.
you had no business being in the call today. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
so here, if you look at it, and that's why I said, you're not going to learn it overnight.
Yeah.
So what is this? September 15? You see the range we created, and you also have a
Mm.
little range here as well, which is kind of right now working against you.
Yeah.
So once we broke this here, what was it at 315? That was a super easy short.
Mm.
What you can hope for, and that's why I said your religious or beliefs. If you can get a bounce that it breaks and all the way and test this previous support here or previous structure low, you want to get out of there.
Okay.
Yeah, and unless some FMOC magic happens tomorrow, I'm actually
Yeah. Yeah.
bullish for tomorrow on FMOC. So
Yeah.
Am I the only one cringing at a 10% daily goal?
that's a lot,
I think
man. Like
I mean,
10%'s pretty
that's
wild, man.
dude, literally. I mean, like on what Shorty was showing, 10% a day on $1,000,
yeah.
you'll be a
Yeah.
millionaire in 18 trades. That's not realistic.
That is
You're
true.
you're
I was just gonna process on it.
you're setting yourself up for failure right off the bat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10%, man. Even if it's 10% on $1,000 account, you would make a million in 72 days.
Sorry, I don't know why I said
Yeah.
18 days. But yeah,
Yeah, man.
that's just a completely unrealistic goal. Like you might
And
have
really. Okay.
10% days, but you're
Uh
gonna
huh.
be way more successful shooting for like 3% a day and
3% a day.
turning off your software when you hit that
Okay.
3%. Walk away from the computer, don't look at charts, don't do anything. Just shut everything down
Okay.
and walk
Yeah.
away the minute you hit your goal. Don't give anything
Mm-hmm.
back. Why?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
hit the goal. And this is what I tell people: if you hit your goal, you really, and sometimes I get on Macari and a few others. I ping him personally and I tell him, send me a screenshot of your desktop that tosses off.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then like feeling like you have to use all of your buying power. Like there's days where I
Yeah.
don't even use 10%. I
Yeah.
hit my goal, I'm done. Like what am I gonna push for and like just try to give something back?
I know. And my biggest problem was I was gonna cut it, but I end up getting a call to go see a patient. So I came back and then like it just tanked.
Yeah, you're messing with really bad like
Yeah.
account management and risk management and
Yeah.
shooting for 10%. You're
That's
shooting
a
yourself in the
lot.
foot.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
Well,
lot. Maybe adjust that, and it's up
I
to you,
just
right? But
okay.
I would adjust it
Yeah.
maybe to like 2%, 3%.
2%.
And I'm showing you here, and I don't need to know your account size, but you have a
Yeah.
5K account, just do 3% daily. I mean,
Yeah.
3% is also hard. But
Mm.
if 3% is hard for me, I don't know how.
It's will
I
be
mean,
hard. I mean, definitely hard for me.
I mean, I don't know how 10% is gonna work out for you because you're gonna be more
Yeah.
disappointed than you're not. And life is all about expectations. If you're
Yeah.
expecting 10% daily, ooh, man, you're gonna be quitting Discord probably in a couple of days.
I hope not.
Well, I mean, it's not.
I just
Yeah,
started, so
no.
we got
So
a lot
yeah,
to learn.
that's a big goal. 10% is a
Yeah.
big goal. So
Okay.
even if you take 5K, and I'm being really conservative at 2%. I mean, you
Yeah.
think about it. You do that daily for a couple of years or 265 days,
Hmm.
it becomes $950,000. And what you need to do is, if I'll send this spreadsheet to you guys, you put your starting balance, put it here, and every day, whatever that day is, I don't know, this is 920. Let's say
Hmm.
tomorrow is 921. And if this is just, set up these days, and we can change this template here to have only working days.
Okay.
Once you set this up, let's say 921, you made balance, you made, let's say 5250. Okay, well, that's great. And then you can do something like actuals if you do this where you're supposed to be, and we can program it to tell you whatever we want it to say. We can say, hey, yeah, I made my goal here, you know. And then if you think about it, here you come back, you're supposed to be at 5200. Let's say you're 5450. You made your goal, right? I mean, it looks like you're above your goal. Let's say then the next day you dip to 5350. You're still above where you're supposed to be. So
Yeah.
this tells you you're still okay. You managed your risk. But let's say if this drops to 4800, well, now you're in a little bit of a limbo.
Yeah.
You lost $500 and your compounding is broken. So now to gain 500% back, you kind of have to spend a whole week of recovery in order to
Yeah.
make $500.
Cool.
So adjust your percentage a little bit, and maybe send me once Friday ends, maybe you should send me your log so I can take a look at
Okay.
it and your entries.
Okay. I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you make sure to add like the max investment tab? I really like that.
Say it again. Sorry.
The max investment tab. Whenever you send the sheet, can you include that as well? I really like that.
Yeah,
This
you
piece
should.
here.
Yeah, that.
You could. Is Mike? Mike, are you on the call? You can probably add that to your sheet as well. That's a
Yeah, I
pretty
think we can
easy
ask
add.
Mike to add it to our log entry here on the tab somewhere, so you guys can have this as well.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
like in a separate tab. That would be really.
I'm not
I'll
talking about
ask
that.
Mike.
I'm talking like on the line item you're logging. So it'll toggle and say, "Hey, man, this was
Too
dumb.
much.
Your contract was too high." You know what I mean? Because I used to do that with myself back when I was doing stupid shit all the time. So
Yep. Yeah, we can see with him, and we can highlight it based on your investment on a trade log entry and go from there.
yeah, you just make it a percentage based off of the running total.
Yep. Okay. Any tickers you guys are interested in? I mean, I don't know what you guys are looking to trade tomorrow. Any good setups? Any tickers you guys
Can you
want to
look
look
at Apple, please?
at? Yeah.
Can you check forward too, Shorty, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
and XLE if that's okay.
Sarah, you don't want him to look at ball.
I hopped in 155 puts.
I mean, if you hopped in here, that was really good. That's what we said. We should short it, right? 157.89.
Literally, yeah, right before close, I got a fill for like 297.
This was a really good short here if you shorted it. And even here is pretty good. So obviously we need to break this. We need to kind of lose that. And then the best part you can do to find where you should get out of here, probably going to be somewhere around here. So we're going back to 150 on Apple. I'm not saying it's going to happen this week or not, but we're going to be here very soon.
I got 3 weeks out. I got 155s for 3 weeks out.
I think you'll be okay on those. That's a good entry.
Did I hear you say you're leaning bullish on FOMC tomorrow?
I think they're going to surprise some people potentially with the rates just because of elections. That's what I'm kind of thinking. I think they're going to try to surprise some people tomorrow, and the next one they would dump. And I mean, I'm looking here, on 4 hours. You look at the daily, we're holding these levels here pretty good. And this volume here that came into the wick here. So yeah, the Fed's non-partisan. Yeah. Yeah, but the elections are not in November and December. So
How many more scheduled meetings do they have between?
I think there's this one, and then there's one in October. We can check, but I think there's 2 more left after this one. So I would watch this level tomorrow on SPX 38.86 if we can claim that, just price action level stuff. This is a big level here, guys. When you think about it, if you go on smaller time frames, look at this. You're able to break below it, then you gap over it, right? Here, there's a nice little gap down. You go over it, now you're rejecting, and it's potentially setting up for a nice either run above this level or a dump here. And from just pure supply and demand and imbalances, this would be the level that you're kind of looking at right here. So I think they might push it. And if it's 75 basis points, I think they're going to push it. And just remember, at 2 o'clock, you're going to get a reaction. At 2:30, you could probably do opposite of that reaction and maybe make it. Okay.
Hey, Shorty, could you go back and show us history of those last FOC?
Yeah, just give me the date, somebody.
I posted something.
I suck at finding something in Discord, man.
Dempster, did you put something like, here's where he talked and from a time standpoint? Because that's what I'm curious of.
I've got something for the dates, the weekdays. No, there was something. Hold on, let me find it.
Available on your website.
I post so much useless shit.
If you just go to FOMC's website, they have like a table.
Yeah, I just don't worry about it. I'll look up.
Here's July 26th, right? This was one of them. So So here's July 26th, the one in question, right? So we faded away, right? Let's see, 9:30 came. I'm pretty sure this was at 2 o'clock. So look here. We started running, I guess, from noon. Let me make this. So from noon, we started running up. And here at 2 o'clock, we had a reversal dump. And then look at the retest. The next day, the gap up, gapped right over the previous day high. And then it just
Now, is that
took
one
off.
where they raised the rates to the level they thought they were going to raise it, or are they higher? Or?
That was I think that was the same anticipation of whatever that was, 75 basis points. Yeah, there goes a good chart. Hold on, let me bring it over so people can see it. So it looks like July, the rate hike was 75 basis points. Day off, this measures from the previous day close to the FOMC day close. So they ran it up and the day off. I mean, they ran 2 days after you gained 2.73, and a week after 3.34. So I don't know. I'm leaning a little bit more bullish. Not bullish, but I think they're going to keep 75 basis points.
Thanks.
So how we take it, it's going to be up to the market.
Do you know how much they can tighten on the rate side? Because there's got to be a limitation. No.
Well, there's really not a limitation. It's about getting the actual rates to about 4% before the year end.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry, the 4%
Yeah.
mark.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the actual rate now is like 155, 165. So I mean, and we are in almost October. So I don't know, when you think about it, if you're in October and you have to get another 2%, you can be really aggressive to get there. And there's really no limit. It's just an agreement between the Feds. That answer your question?
Yeah, it did. I was just wondering because I just wanted to see how much the Fed could tighten and slow down the economy. That's about it.
No, they can do a lot of damage, and usually Feds is the one that causes the recessions, right? I mean, obviously they're doing it now. So here's XLE. Somebody asked about XLE. I'm just looking at a couple of days worth of data here. I would say like maybe 10. We made higher highs. We've been in lower highs. And now it seems like you're coming to a similar pattern that you had here. You had a sell off, you made lower highs, and then you created kind of like a little gap. And I'll remove this extension here. So it's kind of the same pattern that you're having here if you look at it. You dump here, you dumped here, created a gap, and then you kind of started making higher lows here. You're making higher lows and you're kind of compressing up as well. So this would be the level that I'm watching kind of for long, or if you're going to short below 75.28. But this would be where I look for long and go higher. At the same time, you just need to look at a little bit bigger picture. And I don't know if your intention is swinging, whatever that might be. But I would look at see where the buyers are right now. And the buyers are right here. So once we reclaim this POC, this was pretty good opportunity to go long. There's a high chance we're going to run now to the least value area high here. Does that make sense?
Thank you.
What other tickers you guys want? Apple, like XLE, somebody said. I don't know what you guys said. What did Tesla do? I'm interested. Oh my God. Oof. That was an easy swing. Does anyone recall these levels? What I told you, where it's gonna go, and the high probabilities of each. You guys recall these levels? I kept them on. I haven't touched them yet.
30.
It broke this one, tapped perfectly. We came under this level. We're going to 303. Did anyone swing any puts on Tesla?
Well, I ran a call from 5 up 310 calls.
You're swinging 310 calls?
No. I made money today on them. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
swing.
Yeah, I think we're gonna dump here. Well, let's see. Depending on how FOMC, but this looks very bearish. I saw some people today very bullish on Tesla.
Yeah, it's getting close to that top. But yeah, it rejected the top today.
I mean, this is a
No, that was
perfect.
yesterday.
Don't forget that inverse head and shoulders on Apple.
And this inverse head and shoulders here, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but Apple was in a downtrend.
Yeah. No, it was an uptrend.
Right, uptrend. Oh, that's an uptrend too. Yeah. Tripping.
Yeah, so what I like to do when something is like this, I really like to grab it like oh my God. I don't even have to tell you what you have to do here, but I might swing some 1021 280 puts.
Are you still? So you're not thinking that it's going to go to 329.73 or
No,
330 or whatnot?
it won't go there till it goes about 313 and retests.
So then that would be your stop. Would be the 313.
Correct.
Okay.
But it depends where I get it, right? If they push it tomorrow and it fails again at this range top that we have, then yeah, I mean, I can put the stop loss slightly above it, right? I mean, there's a little wick here. I'd probably put like 315.6 as my stop loss, but this would be a really nice risk to reward trade here. Let's say somehow we get this push up again tomorrow. You could do something like this. Trying to get it. That's good enough. You could take a trade up to here. That's 4 to 6. My target would be here. This is what I want. And I just have to check some volume stuff here real quick. All right. What do you guys see here? Anyone?
You got waning volume, high volume. That's bearish to me.
So we have on this little cluster, we have a descending volume as well. If you go on weekly, I'm just looking at volume. I don't care about anything else right now. Overall, I mean, if you look at it, the volume's been going down, right? The volume's going down. The red here is not heavy either, but the green is also descending a lot. Look at the green volume here. That's our monthly chart. And what's interesting here, and hopefully somebody sees it. Today, you had more volume than yesterday. And today, you have a smaller candle than yesterday.
You also have a triple top.
Yeah, we're on the range top. This is perfect hit. And the reason why I drew that area right here, we popped above the value area high, remember? And this is the reason, if you guys watched the watch list, I believe from Sunday, I said this here, for me, it's not bad. $3 is not bad, but you have to be quick on profits. Does anyone remember that? Okay, maybe not. Just rewatch the list. I told you. If you're
Yeah.
gonna go here, it's gonna be quick, and you have to take the $3 profits.
I think you were saying the ultimate is if they push it up to 330.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they go to 330, let's say tomorrow we turn bullish, this is a pretty really good opportunity to short because the Feds are not going to pivot. There's nothing to pivot off.
What do you mean by that? That there's nothing to pivot off?
Well, I mean, unemployment is not really dying at the speed that they were thinking that it was going to die, where they don't have to intervene with the rate hikes. So they need to slow down the economy more in order to kill the first thing that we covered in the call is demand and supply. When the inflation is high, you need to kill the buyers. They don't kill the suppliers, they kill the buyers so that you don't demand it. So you don't have money for it. When people are not buying stuff off of the shelves, what do people do with their inventory?
Mark it
Drop
down.
prices?
Yep.
You run sales. You sell it at a discount.
Hey, Shorty, they announced the other day that they're not issuing the visas for workers as easily this past year. So that's probably what's keeping the unemployment up or down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big part of the United States and employment and percentages. If you're not familiar with stuff like this, to read Demographic Clef book. They'll explain it really well and how demographics, movements, immigrants, and all of that plays a role into GDP and economy.
That volume ascending in that line right there for today, the volume bar, and then the range of the price today that Tesla didn't go. Would you call that an anomaly? Because I've heard you guys say that a bearish anomaly or a bullish anomaly.
This is a bearish anomaly.
Gotcha.
The spread of the candle is smaller, the volume is bigger. And where does the anomaly happen in terms of the structure of the chart? It happens right at the supply, and the heaviest volume comes from the top. Boop.
I have a question about that. So the prior candle before the shooting star at the top, it's the same volume, but it's widespread. And also, I mean, if effort equals result, it shouldn't take that little volume to trend higher like that. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It's actually perfect sense to me. Just look
wouldn't
at
that also be an anomaly when it goes up on that little volume?
well, correct. So look at this one. So this
Yeah.
day was 644, correct? So this day you're talking about this one 389. I'm just gonna find this day here. So this one went 644. This one's 389. Let's call it double. This volume here on this day, I would say the volume here was triple of this volume here, but the candle only gained double. So it tells you this candle is not really relative to the other candles that we are around. It's not right. Doesn't make sense, right? Definitely a bearish setup here. And once we lose this 303, 77, guys, this is, I don't even think they'll give you a retest tomorrow on this. Yeah. Because, I mean, this can really dump. I mean, it has 299.84 as a level. So you should probably take some money off if you're scalping or day trading. So like this level here, you should take some money here. Protection of that one at 395 so that they'll protect this. But ultimately, if you buy time, this is where we headed at 285. Okay, so that's Tesla. I think that's a pretty good setup. What did Amazon do? Hmm. I still like to short this one below here. We have the 114.8 level, I believe. Right there, 114, call 75, 114. It was my head's 114.8. So once we lose this, you get a nice little dumpy of $6 on Amazon. And you guys see what we were kind of trying to hold here. So this is setting up for a nice little trade, right? So if you guys look at it, if we drop here, bounce, bounce, bounce. Once you break it, this is what you're gonna get on Amazon. Okay. What else you guys got? Anything?
Can you take a look at OXY? I know you went over XLE, but I just want to see it individual.
Yeah, I mean, depends for your purpose, but it has a high chance to go to 57, which would bring back crude to about 80, I believe. Yeah. 80 is a number on crude, so $4 on crude probably equals something like that on Oxy. 57-ish. Yeah, I'm really not gonna buy shares on this now that I missed a few times. Yeah, it has a little bit of room here once we lose this, guys. Once you lose this value area high of 55, so this here becomes your bounce area for the stock. Once we lose this and you dip here, there's a potential that you're going to execute something like dip here, come here, and then it could be a nice little flush. And honestly, just an announcement from Putin that the war ended sends the stock to about $30.
Looks like he's talking this morning, like around 3 a.m.
Yeah,
EST.
right before market open.
Yeah, tomorrow it may be a big surprise. Who knows?
It's gonna be really volatile, guys. I'm telling you, if you do not feel comfortable, do not trade tomorrow. It will be pretty wild. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Anyone check this on Oxy before? I don't know who asked, but you guys see where we rejected? Not crazy that we rejected right on the dot. Because now we're making a lower high still. So, I mean, we're still making lower highs here. So 76.90 break above that, we have a chance to run it to 94. break here, you have an opportunity to really take a beating here. There's not a lot of volume here. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. 11 o'clock my time. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Not gonna trade in the morning if it's flat like it was Monday. Try to avoid that, and then we'll see how the market treats us. Maybe in the afternoon.
Thanks, Shorty. Have a good night.
All right, guys. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
Shorty.